Okay, so today we're going to be flushing out a tankless water heater. It's pretty straightforward. You could do this with all tankless water heaters that have service valves. Usually the service valves, and you need these in order to complete this process. If you don't have some, go install them, or good luck. So today we're going to be using the Haymaker Descaler. Basically what this liquid does is it goes into the system itself and it cleans out all the copper coils inside the unit. Without this, the longevity of your tankless water heater will not last the normal efficiency. These last maybe 20 years without using the descaling every year. You're looking at about maybe 8 to 10. It will obviously diminish the amounts. What you're going to want to do first is you want to get a pump. These pumps you can get them at Home Depot, anywhere like that. So first, you're going to want to get this blue hose that connects directly to the pump. You're going to want to put it in this bucket. And from there, this first hose is going to get it connected to the cold side. So you're going to want to get that out there. Put that in right there. And you're going to want to keep all of these levers closed still. All right, then you're going to want to get your secondary hose. This secondary hose just goes inside the bucket, so just in there, and this one goes on the hot side right here. It's not really too important to do that outside, because if it leaks on the ground, it leaks on the ground. But if you're inside a home, make sure those washers are intact and really nicely tightened. Okay, so once you have your two hoses connected, you're going to want to turn off the gas, and this hose is going to be here. So what you're going to want to do is just turn this on. It's going to fill up the bulb. All right, you're going to want to turn off your tankless water heater, have it shut off, and then this is the important part here, guys. Do not get this mixed up, because it could be a catastrophic situation if you do so. So during this process, the water into the unit will be turned off. Okay, and you're going to want to turn off the water that feeds out from the tankless water into the property. That needs to be shut off completely, because this chemical, you don't want this running into the hot water of the property, because that could be very dangerous, because this is, in other words, poison, so to say. So you're going to want both these valves off. You're going to want the water circulating from the pump into the tankless water heater and circulating, cleaning. So once that thing's done, we're going to open up these valves so that the water can flow into the hoses. Not much water is going to come out here since the water's shut off. Okay, just a little bit, you see there. And after that, you're going to want to make a hole on your descaler, and you're going to want to toss it all in there. Just toss it all in there. Okay, that's done. After that, you're just going to want to plug in your tankless water heater, your pump, to an electrical source. And it's working. I'm actually going to get a new hose just because I don't want the chemical to leak out. But this is going to circulate for 30 minutes. Get your timer, and I'll see you guys back when we deassemble everything. Okay, so after your 30 minutes are up, you're going to just want to disconnect the pump. It's going to stop there, and then you're going to want to close this off right there. Disconnect this, and look at all that murky water. All that green lime is the buildup that's from in years of service in there. So all right, you do that, and then what you're going to want to do, remember, keep this one off, because that chemical is still circulating. You don't want that going into the water. All right, this is the hose for the hot. Keep that open, the valve that releases to the hose, and you're going to want to open the water that goes into the unit to flush out the dang tankless water here. There you go. See, look at all that green stuff coming out of it. That's all that buildup that you don't want going into the hot water in which your tenant or your homeowner is going to be drinking or whatnot. So flush it out for another maybe 5-10 seconds. Make sure all the liquid, the descaler, gets purified out. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, beautiful. So what you're going to want to do, you're going to want to close this. Close that hose for this, because you're basically done with this. And it's stuck on there. Okay. And you might be keen towards turning on the water, but remember, you have to clean out the filter first. So what you're going to want to do is this little black thing right here. That's the filter. You're going to want to take that off slowly. Remember, this is plastic. It's a hard plastic. So if you crack that, oof, you're in a world of pain. You're going to remove that. Oop, my fault. I forgot to turn that off. See? Let me just drain out the water. There you go. And that's all extra water. Okay, beautiful. Okay. Oh, the filter is actually really, really clean. You're just gonna soak it up a little bit with just hose water. Just a little bit. Normally you have a whole bunch of like rocks and sediment in there, but we do this house, we maintain it every other 6 months or so since they Airbnb it out. So you're gonna want to close that up really well. Do not over tighten this, guys. I cannot stress that enough. When I was barely starting off, I would over tighten these. Oh my god, and the problems. So once you do that, you're gonna want to turn that back off. That's only to bleed out the line. Then you can just turn the water on to both the hot and the cold that go into the property. Turn the gas back on, turn this bad boy back on, and there you go. You just descaled a tankless water heater and you saved yourself about $250. So if you also want to do the condensation line, you can go ahead and do that. You just pull the pin off, put it back in. But normally it has pretty well protectors up there on the ceiling for the vent, so pretty much so. But yeah,